This is brought to you by Real Estate Rank IQ. Let's get straight to it. Here's what you should never say to a real estate agent when you're selling your home.
So, let's talk about why your words matter so much. Look, when you're selling your home, what you say to a real estate agent isn't just small talk. Every single word is leverage. Seriously, what you say can literally make or break your final sale price, your timeline, and your overall success. And check this out. A recent Harris poll found that a whopping 48% of Americans, that's almost half, view agents either neutrally or, negatively. Now, this isn't to bash agents, so many of them are fantastic. But what this number tells you is that you absolutely have to be strategic. You've got to protect your own interests right from the very first conversation. So how do you do that? I mean, think about it. There are over 1.5 million agents in the US. That is a huge range of skill, of motivation, of ethics. So the big question is, how do you navigate all that and make sure you come out on top? Well, it all starts with knowing what to keep to yourself.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. This is probably the biggest and most critical mistake you can make. Spilling the beans on your motivation, your timeline, and especially your price expectations. Okay, first up is this classic line, "I'm not in a hurry to sell." You might think this makes you sound cool, confident, like you're in the driver's seat. But here's what an agent often hears. This isn't a priority. They might think you're just kind of testing the waters, which means they're probably not going to put their full marketing muscle behind your property. And that lack of urgency, it has a very real cost. Zillow's data is super clear on this. Homes that sit on the market for more than 30 days sell for up to 5% less. 5%! That patient vibe can make your property look stale to buyers, and it could literally cost you thousands of dollars. Okay, next mistake. You walk in and say, "I think my home is worth this much." What an agent hears is, "My mind is made up. Don't bother with a deep data analysis." And that's a problem, right? A really great agent gets stopped in their tracks before they can even do a proper market analysis. And a not-so-great agent, they might just nod and agree with you to lock down the listing, even if your number is completely unrealistic. And we've got the numbers to back this up. Redfin found that nearly a quarter, 22% of homes that are listed above market value end up needing a price cut. And you know what happens then? The house gets a stigma, and it often sells for less than if it was priced right from the start. The lesson here is simple. Let the data lead the pricing conversation, not your gut feeling. Now this next one, this is huge. Never, and I mean ever, reveal your absolute bottom line. That walkaway number. That number is your single most powerful piece of leverage in a negotiation. It's your ace in the hole. If you give it away at the beginning, you've just handed over all your power. And the financial hit is no joke. The Consumer Federation of America actually studied this. They found that sellers who spill their bottom line too soon face less aggressive negotiations and sell for an average of 3 to 5% less. Think about that. You've got to guard that number like a state secret until you are deep into negotiations. Okay, so keeping all of that in mind is absolutely crucial for this next part, controlling the agent interview. This is your chance to set the tone and show them you're a serious, smart seller who knows the game. So how do you take control? It really comes down to 3 simple steps. 1. Interview at least 3 agents, no exceptions. The National Association of Realtors found that sellers who do this are way more satisfied. 2. Demand a detailed marketing plan. And 3. Negotiate the listing term. HomeLight's data shows that a 3-month term is totally reasonable in most places. And here's a word of caution about loyalty. Check this stat. 39% of sellers find their agent through a referral or because they've worked with them before. And look, that's a fine place to start. But you have to vet everybody, even your friend or your cousin, on their current numbers, their strategy for your home right now, and whether they're actually a specialist in selling homes. All right, moving on. If you want a better outcome, you have to ask better questions. It's really that simple. This is what separates the average sellers from the strategic ones who get a plan that's actually tailored for them. For example, here's a common question. Is now a good time to sell? What do you think an agent's going to say? Of course they'll say yes. The strategic question is it a good time for me to sell? See the difference? That little change forces a real conversation about your finances, your goals. And get this, a TOM data shows that sellers who time the market based on their personal situation can see up to 10% higher returns. That's huge.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time talking about what to keep quiet. But now we need to talk about the one massive exception. There's one area where holding back information isn't just a bad idea, it's straight up illegal. And this part is absolutely non-negotiable.
We're talking about material facts. You are legally required to disclose all known defects with your property. Things like a leaky roof you know about, cracks in the foundation, or if it's flooded in the past. Trying to hide this stuff is a recipe for disaster and can land you in a nasty lawsuit later on. Being transparent here protects everyone, you, your agent, and the buyer.
All right, let's pull all of this together into your smart seller playbook. Think of this as a quick, rapid-fire checklist of the rules you need to follow to stay in control and get the most money for your home.
Okay, part 1 of the takeaways. First, guard your urgency. Always act ready to sell. Second, let the data lead on price. Don't be the first to name a number. Third, always interview at least 3 agents. And fourth, protect your bottom line number until the final stages of negotiation.
And the second half of your playbook. Negotiate that listing term down. 3 months is a great target. Ask the strategic question, is it the right time for me to sell? Vet every single agent based on current data, not just because they were referred to you. And last but definitely not least, disclose all legally required material facts. No exceptions.
See? When you're intentional with your words, you're not just selling a house. You are taking control of the entire outcome. For more expert tips on how to sell smarter, make sure you stay tuned to Real Estate Rank IQ.